Welcome to this video lecture. So let us start understanding a new concept in analog communication subject. That is the new concept in analog communication subject. You have seen how to modulate amplitude, how to modulate frequency, and then phase modulation, and why modulation is required, how to modulate, how to demodulate, how to receive the signal, and what are the various block diagrams you have. Everything you have studied. And after studying all these modulation techniques, there is one more important topic left out in analog communication. That is nothing but wherever you go for communication, wherever you implement a communication block diagram, one uninvited person will come as a guest into the communication. As per your block diagram, you have only this transmitter, communication channel, and your receiver. But there is one uninvited person, guest, who is going to interfere into this your regular communication, and that uninvited person, which is of very irritating character in communication system, is called noise. Okay, so let us learn about noise in continuous modulation system. Continuous modulation system means either it can be AM or it can be FM, PM, like that. So we have to learn about what are the different types of noise present in any of the modulation system and how to remove the noise, what are the mathematical expressions of the noise, and for AM, FM, what are the noise, what is the total amount of noise component included into AM and FM. Everything we have to study. So now, before studying this noise, where does this noise topic come from? In signals and systems concept, you have understood that there are classification of signals, right? And there are total 5 classification of signals, like even and odd signals, and then continuous time signal, discrete time signal, periodic, aperiodic signal, energy and power signals. Like that, out of these 5 classification, there is one classification called as deterministic and random signals. This is one classification of signals you have studied. So what is the meaning of deterministic signals? Any signal, if I tell its name and if you can easily write its diagram without any confusion, is called deterministic. For example, sine, cos. If I tell you to write a sine wave or a cos wave or a square wave without any confusion, you can easily write its shape. Such type of signals whose values are known to you. Okay, before you write the signal, you know how the shape of the signal looks like. Such type of signals are called deterministic signals. Now, what are random signals? This is important for us. As the name itself indicates, they are random in nature. Random in nature means these signals, if I tell you the name, you have no idea how to write the signal, how to draw the diagram of the signal, how to sketch the signal. Say for example, I will tell you to draw my speech signal or a noise signal. You don't know how its shape comes. You cannot tell the shape is exactly sine wave or the shape is exactly square wave of my speech. It varies. Sometimes it will be more, sometimes it will be less. Like that, it varies. So such type of signals whose values cannot be told, cannot be predicted now itself. What is the value of that signal? In the future it will come. That if I cannot tell now itself, the values of the signals which cannot be predicted what comes in the future, such type of signals are said to be random signals. Now, random signals examples are like your you can take like speech or noise. Noise you don't know. Noise will be sometimes more, sometimes very less, and the nature of the noise signal is random. if I want to write an approximate noise signal, how I can write, how any noise signal looks like. You might have seen in the experiments what you have conducted in the hardware laboratories. Noise signals will be something like this: random signal. Sudden there will be a drastic change, sudden there will be zero noise. So like this type of random in nature, then so such type of signals are called random signals. Examples are your noise or the speech, ECG, all communication signals which are present in the communication are called noise. See, whatever the signals we use it in our communication block diagram, all those your meaningful in signals present in the communication signals are random in nature. Correct? No. Why? Because if the signals are deterministic in nature, if we use a deterministic signal for communication, deterministic means what? The values of the signals, you know it priorly. You know what comes in the future. If you know what comes in the future, then why you need to communicate? You can only generate that type of signal, no? So that is why whatever the signals we use in communication, all those signals, the practical signals used in communications are all random in nature. Only to understand the concepts we have taken in AM and FM, like a sine wave and like a cos wave we have taken. That is only for understanding purpose. But all those communication signals, the speech signals, music, voice, everything are random signals. You cannot predict what is its value in the future. Now we understood that almost all the signals in the communication are random in nature. Then if they are random in nature, then in order to understand that random signals, then in order to model this communication signals, or in order to write the block diagram or to implement the block diagram of a communication system, then I should know its mathematical representation. You know that without any mathematical representation, you cannot write any block diagram in communication, right? So whatever these random signals are there, these random signals should be mathematically modeled, mathematically represented. You have to represent the random signals mathematically. Though you cannot write a particular equation for that, you have to somehow approximate the random signals using mathematical equations or mathematical representations. If you understand the mathematical equations of random signals, then only it is possible for anybody to model a communication system. Okay, without mathematics you cannot model or design any communication system. So understanding this mathematics of the random signals is very important for us. So in order to understand that mathematical representation, and most of the mathematics for random signals, most of the maths for particularly for random signals will be like your probability. Okay, why it will be like probability? Because it is a random signal. You cannot quote it like a sine or cos or any trigonometric function. So whatever the maths function, whatever the maths related to random signals, all these random signals are based on a concept in mathematics called as probability. So if you want to understand the communication in real time, any communication, either analog or digital communication, if you want to understand in real time, then you need to understand the mathematics concept, that is probability. So probability means you know, right? So now let us first understand some of the basics of probability theory. Let us now understand some of the basics of probability theory. So now in order to understand this probability theory, let us consider a simple basic experiment. Like you take a simple fair coin, and that coin you have, you know, a regular normal coin, that coin you have to toss. when you toss a coin, and what is the output? Either there are two outputs, either it can be head or the coin can show tail. Okay, now let us call tossing a fair coin is an experiment. And which experiment it is? Do you know the output, what exactly it comes? No, you can only predict 50% or 60% head can come, 20% tail can come, like that you can predict. So the output is not known to you. So can I call this experiment as a random experiment? Yes. So you consider a random experiment. So which example we have taken? We have taken tossing of a coin. Tossing of a coin. Fair coin. Fair coin means one side tail should be there, one side head should be there. If you toss a fair coin, what is the outcomes you will get? Either you will get the answer as head or you will get the answer as tail. Correct? No? So now there are only two possible outcomes of this random experiment. Only two possible outcomes. Outcomes means when you conduct the experiment, whatever you get at the end of the experiment, that is outcomes. So there are only two possible outcomes if you toss a coin, that is head and tail. So instead of head, let me call it as capital H. Instead of tail, let me call it as capital T. Okay. Now this set of all the possible outcomes of a random experiment can be called as sample space. Whatever the possible outcomes you have, if you conduct an experiment, tossing a coin will have only head and tail. So only this two outcomes you have, no? So all these two outcomes, if you write it like a set group, that set can be called as sample space. Now whatever the output you get, head or tail, is that output random? Correct? No, you don't know whether it is a output can be head only or the output can be tail only. So the output is a random. So I can call this output as a say for example in mathematics, let me call it as, instead of head, let me call it as small x1. Instead of tail, let me call it as small x2. So what are the possible outcomes you have? The possible outcomes you have is x1 comma x2. In which experiment? Tossing a coin. x1 means head, x2 means tail of the coin. Okay. Now this, whatever the possible outcomes of tossing a coin you have, no, this is called sample space, and this outcome, head or tail, is a random and it is a variable. X means variable. So therefore, what is that I can call this as? This can be called as a random variable. Okay, the output, whatever you get if you toss a coin, either head or tail, can be called as a random variable. Random variable, I am representing it as capital X. So capital X is a random variable, output of the random experiment. What is the output? Capital X can be? Capital X can be either equal to small x1, which is nothing but head, and it can be equal to small x2, which is nothing but tail. So capital X is nothing but random variable. It keeps changing. You don't know whether head comes or tail comes. That is why it is called as random variable. Now this type of experiment is called as discrete random variable. Why I am using the adjective called as discrete? Discrete means what? The outcomes are there only for particular values. Okay, say for example, head means head only, tail means tail only. In between head and tail there is no in between output. Correct? No, either the output can be head or it can be tail. So, okay, in between head and tail there is nothing. So such type of outcomes are called discrete random variable. Discrete signals means the signal's amplitude is present only for a particular value. Only for particular value. So all these concepts correct? No. So your output head and tail looks like this only. That is why it is specially called as discrete random variable. But in analog communication, will the signals be discrete or the signals will be continuous in nature? the signals will be continuous. No, the signals will be like a sine signal will be like this, and a noise signal will be like this, and it is continuous, it is not discrete, correct? So therefore for analog communication, what is the variable we have to take? Instead of discrete random variable, you have to take the variable as continuous random variable. So you have discrete random variable and you have continuous random variable. Continuous random variable. Now after understanding this meaning of random variable, sample space, and then random experiment, then now let us know the meaning of probability. Now what is the probability? Probability is represented by P. Probability of random variable being equal to x1, small x1. What is the probability of capital X being equal to small x? Capital X means that is a random variable of the output, okay? And when your probability of output being equal to x1 means what? Head. So what is the probability of your output? If you toss a coin, what is the probability of output being equal to head? It is 50%. No, because there are only two head and tail present. Either it can be head or it can be tail. So what is the probability? 50%. So 50% can be written as 1 divided by 2. Okay, if you remove that percent, then you will get 0.5. 0.5 is nothing but 1 divided by 2. Similarly, what is the probability of getting tail? Tail means capital X is equal to small x2. Small x2 means tail. So what is the probability of getting head? So what is this? This is nothing but probability of getting head. Okay, now what is this? This is nothing but probability of getting tail as the answer. So what is the probability of tail? That is also 50%, because you have only two outcomes. No, so the probability, if you add all the probabilities of a random experiment, then you should get 1. That you know already from the mathematics. So probability is going to give you 1 by 2 and 1 by 2. This is called the probability of a random variable capital X. Now what happens if I plot this probability? If I plot this probability on a x-axis, I will take it as random variable X, and y-axis I will take it as probability. And if you plot, what is the signal? What type of signal you are going to get? Let us see that what type of signal you will get. So now I am going to take this x-axis as my random variable. Okay, random variable means x-axis will be equal to capital X. Capital X I have taken as random variable. Now y-axis I am going to take it as probability value. Now if you consider this tossing coin experiment, what are the two random variables you have? Random variable is capital X. This capital X random variable can be either small x1 or small x2, correct? No, so now I have to mark somewhere here small x1 and somewhere here small x2. Only two only two values you will get for the random variable if you consider an example of tossing a coin. Now what is the probability of getting x1? What is the probability of getting x1? 1 by 2 you got, no? So I will mark it like a discrete signal, because you know that x is a discrete variable, discrete random variable. So what is the probability of getting x1? Half. What is the probability of getting x2? Half. Now this graph, whatever I have written here, this graph whatever I have written, and it is y-axis probability versus x-axis is random variable. So I can call this graph as probability density function. What is the full short form of that? PDF. You might have studied in your mathematics also. So we can call this graph, whatever y-axis probability, x-axis random variable, we can call this diagram as probability density function. How do you represent this probability density function? PDF. How do you represent? We are going to represent it as small f suffix capital X of small x. Okay, what is the meaning? F is a function which depends on which variable? Small x only, no? Okay, f is a probability density function, depends on small x. Small x means the value of the random variable. And for which random variable we are writing this probability? We are writing this probability function for capital X. That capital X should come to the suffix part. Okay, capital X means random variable, small x means the value of the random variable. Okay, now so PDF represented as fx of x. So whatever I wrote now, this diagram is nothing but fx of x, the probability density function. Now this is an example of a discrete random variable, but in order to understand our communication subject, we have to go for continuous random variable. Now how to represent for a continuous random variable? Okay, the definitions and meanings are all same, but instead of the signal being discrete, you are going to get like a continuous wave. Now you take one example of a traffic system. Consider experiment as traffic intensity on a road for a day, for 1 day. Consider a traffic on intensity on a road for 1 day. That let me plot it now. So what is this? X-axis capital X. This is nothing but a random variable. So I am going to take the random variable as morning 7 o'clock, then 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10, 12, 1, 2, like this I'll continue. Okay, I'll write only till 2 p.m. So what is this? This is nothing but your time in a day. And what is this I am going to take? This is nothing but your probability density function. So I am going to write it as fx of x. Now how to write a traffic? Usually on any working day, how the traffic will be there on any working day? Initially at 7 and 8, slowly the traffic will be very less, but slowly the probability increases. Correct? And 9 to 10 is very, very peak time, where all the college bus and then office work, everybody will be there on the road only during any normal working day. So the traffic intensity or the probability of traffic will be peak, correct, during 9 to 10. And after 10 onwards, slowly the traffic decreases, because everybody will be there either in school, college or in office or somewhere, and nobody will be using the road during 12 1 or 2 p.m. So slowly the traffic decreases. And then again after 2 onwards, once 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. starts, again the traffic increases. I am writing only the details only till 2 p.m. in the noon. Now this is the continuous variable. No, I cannot tell at 7 o'clock this is traffic, at 8 o'clock this is a traffic. In between 7 and 8 o'clock morning also there is a traffic. So this is called as continuous random variable. Okay, see this above diagram which is in discrete, see this below diagram which is in continuous. That's why we call it as continuous random variable. Now for continuous random variable also, notation is same. Fx of x means it is a probability density function only. Probability density function. Okay, now for this if you take the area of this probability density function of capital Fx of x with respect to x, then it should always be equal to 1. You know that probability will never be greater than 1 and less than 0, correct? So if you find the integration of probability density function, or if you find the area of this PDF curve, then you should always get the answer as 1. Now let us understand some of the moments or the statistics used for, okay, it is statistical averages. I'll write some of the definitions. Statistical averages of a random variable. Now consider you have a random variable, okay, x, where x is containing small x1 comma small x2 comma small x, like that you can have n number of values for a random variable, correct? No. Now for this random variable, if you want to find out what is the mean, what is the mean of random variable capital X, what is the meaning of a mean? Mean means average. Consider whatever you score in IA1 and IA2 and IA3, 3 tests out of 15 marks in your 3 tests. First test you will get 15 out of 15. Second test you are going to get 14 out of 15. And the third test you are going to get 10 out of 15. Now 15, 14 and then 10. It's a random variable. No, you don't know what number, what marks you are going to score in the next semester. You don't know. So it is a random variable. Scoring marks in the internal test for each student is a random variable. Now if you have a random variable out of 3 testers, whether to take 15 or whether to take 14 or whether to take 0, we don't know which to take. So what we will do, we will take average of all the things. I know if you take average of all the 3, then definitely you will get very less. Okay, that's why usually we take best 2 and then we take average of best 2 out of 3. But now assume that you have 3 random numbers, and if you want to find one value from that, then you always go for average. Average is nothing but mean. In probability and statistics we call it as mean, which is nothing but average. Now how to calculate this mean of the random variable? That is given by the notation capital E of capital X. Okay, this capital E, wherever I am writing capital E, this represents expected value. Expected value or expectation value. Wherever I write capital E, that is nothing but your mean value or expected value. It is nothing but your mean value of a random variable, or it is a expected value. So E means expect. How to pronounce? E of X or expectation of X, like that you can pronounce. So mean of random variable is represented as E of X. Now what is the formula for E of X? So E of X formula is given by this is the definition. You don't have how this formula came, simply have to understand and remember the formula. Integration minus to plus infinity small x fx of x into dx. This is the formula for mean of a variable. So you can call this as a mean or expectation of a random variable. Okay, now after this finding mean, now instead of taking only x, what if you take E of, instead of x, what if you take x square? Instead of taking only random variable x, if you take squared value of random variable, then what is that you are going to get? Integration minus to plus infinity. Instead of x you have x square fx of x into dx. Now what do you call this as? This is called as what? Mean. Instead of mean, if I take a x square for the random variable, here square was not there. Now can I call it as mean square? Correct now? If you only simply take x, E of x is called mean. If you take x square and if you take e of x square, then we can call it as mean square value. Now instead of e of x square, again what if I take x minus mx? Oh, I did not tell what is mx, right? See, this e of x is nothing but mean, no? That e of x can also be called as mx. M suffix x. Okay, m stands for mean of x. So e of x can also be called as mx. Okay. Now what if I take e of x minus mx whole square? Instead of taking only x square, I am taking it as x minus mean of x whole square. Now what is this equal to? This is equal to integration minus 2 plus infinity x minus mx whole square. See, whatever you write inside this expectation value, same thing should come in the formula. That is the easy way of remembering the formula. Into fx of x dx. Now what name I can give for this? This is called as variance of random variable x. This is called as variance of the random variable x. Okay, mean represents the average value. Variance of any random variable means that with respect to this mean value, how much your other amplitudes of the random variable is varying. With what value your mean of any random variable and the amplitude of the random variable is differing. Okay, that is the meaning of variance. Variance indicates the difference between your amplitude of random variable to mean. Here only it is there. Difference of amplitude of random variable and mean, squaring of that is nothing but variance. Variance indicates how much your random variable is varying with respect to its mean value. Okay, so like this mean square, variance, all these are some of the parameters, statistical parameters, which are required to understand the concepts of noise in future. Now let us understand some more after mean, variance, and what is the notation for variance. I have to write that also. Variance notation is sigma x square. So this is the notation used for variance. Okay, instead of this e of x minus mx square, you can simply call it as sigma x square, which is nothing but your notation of variance of x. And what is sigma x called as without square? Standard deviation. Sigma x can be called as standard deviation of x again. If you have square, then it is variance. If you remove the square, then you can call it as standard deviation of x. Now let us study about some other 2-3 statistical parameters. So now you consider, till now you have considered only a single random variable. Now you would consider two random variables. Consider two random variables. One is x and the other one is y. So one random variable is x, another random variable is y. Now what if I take expected value of x into y? Till now we used to take only expected value of a single random variable. Now what if I take the expected value of two random variables, multiply x into y, and then you take a mean of that. Mean means expected value. So e of xy, what if I take e of xy? Some formula you will get, that is not required for us. Let us not worry about that formula. So if you take e of x into y, what is this called as? This can be called as, what is this? E means mean, no. Mean of product of two random variables. Correct, no? Mean of product of two random variables. I don't want to write such a big name, mean of product of two random variables. I don't want to write. What, instead of this, let me call it as a short name, and that name, whatever I am going to call, is called correlation. Correlation. Okay. If you take mean of product of two random variables, you can call it as correlation. This is very important concept in order to understand communication concepts. Correlation. So you split that word and understand. Correlation means what? Relation means what is the similarity between one thing and another thing. See, if you take a pair of twins, zygotic or any twins, if you take which look similar, if you keep both the persons side by side, and if you analyze how much similarity this person is having with this person, if you identify, and you finally tell that this person is 80% matching with this person, that similarity you do know how much similar each person with another person. That similarity in electronics world we can you call it as correlation. So correlation is nothing but similarity. Okay, that is similarity between person. Here it is similarity between two random variables. Now what is the notation for correlation? Capital R. You have to take the notation as either you can take a small r or you can take capital R. Our textbook refers capital R as the notation. Let us take that too. Capital RXY. Suffix XY represents you are finding similarity or the correlation between what two variables. That is the meaning of suffix. So RXY is nothing but E of capital X into Y. Okay, and this is particularly called as correlation, and it is called as cross correlation. Why it is called cross correlation? Name itself indicates. X is a different random variable, Y is a different one. So if you want to find relation between two different persons or two different random variables, that's why we call it as cross correlation. Now what if I take E of, instead of taking only X, let me take X minus Mx, and instead of taking only Y, let me take Y minus My. Okay, understood what is the change I did? Instead of taking only X, I am taking X minus Mx. Instead of taking only Y, I am taking Y minus My. Mx, mean of X. My, mean of Y. Now this term, this parameter can be called as covariance. Covariance of X and Y. This parameter is called covariance of X and Y, and in particularly it can be called as cross covariance. Cross covariance of X and Y. Okay, and see this cross correlation E of XY and E of X minus Mx into Y minus My both are same. When these both will be same? When Mx becomes 0 and My becomes 0. That means when the mean of the random variable becomes 0, then you can tell covariance is nothing but correlation. Okay, for a zero mean random variable, correlation is nothing but covariance. Next, after covariance, now what if you take both X is equal to Y? If you take X is equal to Y, what happens now? So let me take it as E of X into X only. Now what is that called as? R X with X only. So this parameter can be called as, you are finding the correlation of X with X only. So that means you are finding similarity of one person with the same person. So you will get 100% similarity, no? So that is called as auto correlation. Autocorrelation. Rx with X only. Rxx can be called as autocorrelation. Autocorrelation of which one? Autocorrelation of only X. Y will not come because Y is also X only here. That is called autocorrelation of X. Okay, so this much is over. Now, understanding one last parameter about this, we understood what is mean, variance, standard deviation, autocorrelation, cross correlation, cross covariance, variance, covariance, many things. Now, one last thing we will understand: what happens if you take Fourier transform. You know, you remember Fourier transform from your signals, right? So what happens if you take Fourier transform of auto correlation? If you take Fourier transform of autocorrelation of x, that means what I should do? I should take Fourier transform is ft. If I take ft of rxx, rxx stands for autocorrelation. Now what happens? You are going to get some other signal, no? If you apply Fourier transform formula by taking rxx as the signal, and if you take Fourier transform of rxx, you will get some other answer. Assume that the other answer, let me call it as capital Sx of f. Let me call it as capital Sx of f. So R means correlation, S means Fourier transform of autocorrelation. If you take Fourier transform of R, that is autocorrelation, then you are going to get in frequency domain. R, autocorrelation is in time domain. R means it is in time domain. If you take Fourier transform of the time domain signal, then you are going to get it in frequency domain. That's why I am writing f inside the bracket. F represents frequency domain. After Fourier transform, we will get frequency domain only. Capital S represents some parameter. Okay, I should give some name. No, I am giving capital S. Capital S of f. Why I am writing this suffix x? Because this is your autocorrelation of x, and for this autocorrelation of x I took Fourier transform, and you are going to get some function, and this is for x only. That is why I am writing the suffix as capital X. Now I should give some name for this parameter. No, I should give some name for this parameter which you got after taking Fourier transform of autocorrelation. What name can be given for this? This capital Sx of f can be called as power spectral density. That can be called as power spectral density. In short, I can call it as PSD, power spectral density. Okay, so this parameter, whatever you have, Sx of f, that can be called as power spectral density, PSD. Okay, so power spectral density, why it is called as spectral? Because you have taken the Fourier transform of autocorrelation. When you take Fourier transform, you will get spectrum. That is why it is called spectral density. Power spectral density, shortly it is called PSD. So this power spectral density is nothing but your frequency domain signal of autocorrelation. Okay, if you sketch this signal, you will get it in frequency domain, F domain. Okay, so these are some of the basics, introduction about mean, variance, power spectral density, probability density function, random experiment. You should know this before going in detail into the noise present in your communication system. See, one note, one very important general information I will tell. Note, for any deterministic signals you have, if you have any deterministic signals like a sine wave or a cos wave, in order to convert it into frequency domain, Fourier transform you will use. Directly you will take the signal and apply Fourier transform of the signal only. Directly you will take the signal and you will apply Fourier transform of x of t. If your x of t is a deterministic signal, then only you can directly apply Fourier transform of signal directly. Okay, why you are applying Fourier transform? To convert it into frequency domain. Okay, if your signal is a random signal, okay, if your signal is a random signal, consider x of t only. If x of t is deterministic, directly take Fourier transform of x of t, you will get a spectrum. If x of t is a random signal, then you cannot directly take Fourier transform of that random signal. Okay, you cannot directly take a Fourier transform of x of t. No. If x of t is a random signal, instead of directly taking Fourier transform, you have to take Fourier transform of its autocorrelation. Okay, autocorrelation of the random signal. For that you have to take Fourier transform instead of taking Fourier transform for the signal. And if you take Fourier transform of autocorrelation, then again you are going to get the spectrum. This spectrum is called as power spectral density. Okay, so if you want to find the spectrum, if you want to find how the signal looks in frequency domain, then you take Fourier transform of the signal if the signal is a deterministic signal. If the signal is a random signal, you cannot directly take Fourier transform. That's why we take Fourier transform of autocorrelation of the signal, random signal. Then it is going to give you one spectrum. This spectrum will give you the frequency domain representation of your random signal. This spectrum, whatever you get now, power spectral density, that is nothing but your spectrum of this random signal x of t. So this is one general note of this video lecture. So in the next video lecture, let us learn what are the different types of noises you have, what are the methods, and what are the mathematical expressions of noise.